Title: The Merchant of the Bosphorus, by Wisdom Chronicles. In the heart of the Ottoman Empire's majestic capital, Istanbul, during the waning years of the 19th century, there lived a young merchant named Emir. His world was a tapestry woven with the grandeur of ancient traditions and the whispers of impending change. Emir's life was deeply entwined with the bustling streets of Istanbul, a city perched on the precipice between two worlds, where the East met the West and the past greeted the future. Each morning, as the mist gently lifted from the Bosphorus, casting a mystical veil over the city, Amir would begin his day. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the narrow lanes as he made his way to the Grand Bazaar. The bazaar was a labyrinth of life and commerce, where languages intertwined like the rich patterns of the carpets that adorned its walls. Emir's store was a small haven amidst this chaos, filled with spices that bore the scents of distant lands and fabrics as vibrant as the city itself. Emir was not just a merchant of goods, but also a connoisseur of stories. He had inherited this little world from his father, who had received it from his father before him. Yet, unlike his ancestors, Emir's eyes were set on the horizon, yearning for the winds of change that were slowly sweeping across the empire. The Hagia Sophia stood proudly, a witness to the ebb and flow of empires, as Emir often gazed at its magnificent dome, pondering the passage of time. In the evenings, he would stroll along the Bosphorus, watching the ferryboats dance upon the waves, bridging continents and cultures. The strait was more than a body of water to Emir. It symbolized the crossroads of his life and the future of his homeland. In the coffee houses and hookah lounges, Emir would listen to the stories of travelers and the debates of intellectuals. The empire was a melting pot of Turks, Greeks, Armenians and Jews, each adding their unique thread to the city's vibrant fabric. Yet, beneath the harmonious coexistence, there were undercurrents of unrest, whispers of reform, and the shadows of foreign diplomats who often frequented these very establishments. One particular afternoon, as the sun blazed overhead, casting a golden hue over the city, Emir encountered a foreign merchant, a man who spoke of railways and telegraphs, inventions that promised to shrink the world. This encounter left a deep impression on Emir, fueling his aspirations to blend the old with the new. But in the heart of the empire, tradition was a fortress, and change was often seen as a siege upon its walls. Emir's daily interactions were a constant dance of contrast and conflict. While he cherished the ancient arts and customs of his people, he was also drawn to the allure of modernization. The presence of stray cats weaving through the crowds, seagulls soaring above the Bosphorus, and the cypress trees standing tall in the old city were reminders of a world that was steadfast and unyielding. The emotional landscape of Emir's life was as varied as the city itself. His heart swelled with pride at the cultural richness of his homeland, yet he was also fraught with uncertainty about its future. The empire was at a crossroads, much like the Bosphorus, caught between the tides of the past and the waves of the future. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Emir witnessed the subtle yet inexorable transformations around him. The whispers of political reform grew louder, and the presence of foreign influences became more pronounced. The Grand Bazaar, once the heart of the empire's commerce, began to feel the ripples of these changes. New goods appeared, alongside the traditional wares, and conversations increasingly turned towards the future. One misty morning, as Emir opened his stall, he found a group of foreign diplomats perusing his goods. Their interest in the fabrics and spices was cursory, but their discussions about the political reforms were keen. Emir realized that these reforms would not just reshape the empire's politics, but also the very fabric of life in Istanbul. The days of bustling afternoons in the markets and serene sunsets with calls to prayer echoing across the city continued. But now, There was a new undercurrent in the air, a sense of impending transformation. Emir understood that his world would never be the same again. The ancient and the modern were converging, and he, like his beloved city, was at the heart of this confluence. The story of Amir, the merchant of the Bosphorus, is a tale of contrasts, of a young man navigating the complexities, of a multicultural empire during a time of significant transition. It's a narrative that mirrors the journey of the Ottoman Empire itself, standing at the brink of modernity while holding firmly to its rich, ancient heritage. Emir's experiences in the Grand Bazaar, amidst the labyrinth of commerce and culture, reflected the socio-economic diversity and historical depth of Istanbul. His interactions with the city's diverse populace, from the lively debates in coffee houses to the haggling in the markets, painted a vivid picture of a society grappling with the challenges of modernization and the pressures of international politics. The symbolism of the Bosphorus Strait, representing the crossroads between East and West, past and future, was a constant theme in Emir's life. It was a reminder of the delicate balance he strived to maintain between his aspirations for progress and his reverence for tradition. This symbolism was further enriched by the dynamic environments of Istanbul, contrasting the ancient, majestic architecture with the lively, ever-changing streets. Emir's story was also one of sensory richness. The aroma of spices and strong coffee, the sounds of diverse languages and music, and the rich textures of fabrics in the bazaars brought the story to life, immersing the reader in the sights, sounds and smells of late 19th century Ottoman Istanbul. The narrative's emotional landscape was complex, characterized by Emir's internal conflict. His modern aspirations often clashed with the traditional ways of the empire, creating a personal struggle that mirrored the broader societal tensions of the time. This was further accentuated by the foreshadowing elements present in the tale, such as the discussions of political reforms and the presence of foreign diplomats, hinting at the empire's impending transformation. The local flora and fauna, from the seagulls over the Bosphorus to the cypress trees in the old city, added a layer of natural beauty to the story, contrasting with the human-made wonders of Hagia Sophia and Topkapi Palace. Meanwhile, the introduction of modern innovations like the telegraph and railways symbolized the inevitable march of progress, challenging the traditional ways of life. In conclusion, The Merchant of the Bosphorus is a tale that intricately weaves the themes of cultural richness, political turmoil, and personal aspiration. It's a story set against the backdrop of a vibrant and changing empire, told through the eyes of a young merchant navigating the shifting tides of an era on the brink of change. The narrative not only depicts the grandeur and complexity of late 19th century Ottoman Istanbul, but also delves into the emotional and symbolic aspects of living in such a dynamic and multifaceted society.